Ladies and gentlemen, my topic too is resilience. I'm going to talk about resilience in my own perspective. Almost 2 months ago to the day, I received a call from my comrade, brother, Dr. Andile Ngaba, a fellow freedom fighter too, to come and deliver a word of encouragement to technicians starting out in their careers on the virtue of resilience. I felt very humbled and honored by this request. I accepted without hesitation. But after sleeping over it, I began to question the wisdom of accepting this request. What could I, a pensioner who has lived his life, tell people who had their whole lives ahead of them? How could I relate my lived experience without leaving them bitter and sad? A still soft voice within me whispered to me that my life story, sad and tragic as it is also a testimony of the human spirit to overcome immense challenges and not only survive but thrive. Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to be among you today and request that you give me a few moments of your time to listen to the story of a dead man walking, as Americans referred to the condemned prisoners. Where do I begin? I am going to do something strange today. In order to instill hope in you, in order to make you look forward to a bright future. I am going to tell you about death, at least my 2 or more close encounters with death. Does this puzzle you? Don't worry, just keep on listening. How can death, which signifies the end of our lives, also be a sign of hope? I am informed that a saint of the Anglican and Catholic churches by the name of Francis of Assisi wrote a very beautiful piece on creation, where he praises all of God's creation. And this is what he has to say about death. Praise be with you, my Lord, through our sister, bodily death, from whom no one living can escape. Let me tell you how I escaped death twice. I think it's more than twice in my life. Ladies and gentlemen, I was born in an ordinary home to an ordinary parents. There was nothing exceptional about my life and my upbringing. However, from the moment I stepped out of my home, I realized that something was not right. My parents could only enroll me into schools where only black people were accepted. Our home was in a township where only black people lived. My parents were allowed to do certain jobs. Even from a young age, I realized there is injustice of the system. As a teenager, and filled with zeal for life and justice, I made a conscious decision to fight for the liberation of my country and my people. And if so required of me to lay down my life for the liberation of my people. Ladies and gentlemen, I left my loved ones and home in a dead of night to go into foreign lands I had never been to, with nothing but clothes on my back. I set out to seek liberation for my people. Life in exile was not easy. Life was tough. We did not have jobs, so we did not have money. We literally lived from donations. We ate donated food, and we wore second-hand donated clothes. But the bonds of friendship and solidarity we formed with each other were permanent. I think that symbolizes the bond that we established in the camps. We were full of hope and believed that one day we would see freedom in our land. We were kept going by these words of our first democratic president and hero, Comrade Nelson Mandela. I quote, "Do not judge me by my success. Judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again," unquote. Despite the many setbacks we came across, and in spite of us being involved in conflict, where we were shot at and we also fired on the enemy, we never lost hope. We were resilient. Though through our resilience, we were able to bounce back from adversity, to overcome challenges, and keep moving in the face of obstacles. There were many times when we felt that we are going through hell, but we remembered the words of Winston Churchill. I quote, "If you are going through hell, keep going." Unquote. Ladies and gentlemen, when you find yourselves in a difficult place, do not stay there and build a home. Keep moving like Johnny Walker. Keep walking. At least I was able to return from exile to carry on the fight at home. It happened that during a skirmish with the enemy, I was captured and 4 of my colleagues or comrades died in the shootout. And like the true soldier that I am, and in testimony of resilient spirit, I was able to escape and left 2 dead behind with the AK-47 that I was using. Unfortunately, I was recaptured 10 days later, and following a long unjust trial, I was sentenced to death by hanging. I was a dead man walking, literally waiting for my death. Let me tell you something about death row. When you are sentenced to death, you are never told of your day of execution. You are only told a week before, date and hour of your execution, that you would meet Sister Death, who would embrace you, whether you like it or not. Strangely enough, before your execution, you were shaved and asked to decide on your final meal. The meal will have a full deboned chicken and other goodies. Most of the time, the food will be left untouched, and the condemned men will sing songs of forgiveness, and some will sing songs of freedom as they climb 52 steps to their death. Ladies and gentlemen, despite my death being assured, I never lost hope. I welcomed the offer of Good Samaritans, lawyers, to appeal my sentence and conviction. Unfortunately, we lost the appeal in Bloemfontein, and I resigned myself to my fate. But every day, I recited the following words by Mary Ann. I quote again: "Courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes courage is the quiet voice at the end of each day, saying, I will try again tomorrow." Ladies and gentlemen, the planets were aligned in our favor, because shortly thereafter we were released following the CODESA negotiations. A few years later, what I and many others fought for became a reality. I managed to see freedom in my lifetime. God favored me with the gift of many more years. I was able to find love and have children. I spent my waking life serving my country in various capacities till my retirement. Ladies and gentlemen, a few years before my retirement, I was involved in a horrific accident where I had to be airlifted to hospital. For a second time or so, I faced death in the face. While stuck in the car, bleeding heavily, and waiting for the jaws of life to cut me out of the wreckage, I was able to make calls to my family. And among the gathered crowd, I could see someone I knew, and I called his name, and he responded with shock. I gave him my watch, wallet, cell phone, and other goods for safekeeping. I also asked him to use my phone to communicate with my family. I then passed out. I woke up, I think it was a week or so. I found myself in hospital. I spent months in hospital, and thereafter I had to go through intense physiotherapy to learn to walk again and to do other things that we normally take for granted. It was not easy for me to have to rely on others. But as Winston Churchill said, keep on going. Look at me today. So as I come to the end, I would like to offer some advice on resilience. The seeds of resilience are planted in the way we process the negative events in our lives. When challenges come, remember that is buried deep inside of you is the ability to adapt and change. No one is born with resilience. Like muscle, resilience is built up from exercising it. The more challenges you come across and overcome, the more resilient you become. We need to build resilience into ourselves, our loved ones, and our communities. When tragedy or disappointments strike, know that deep inside you, you have the ability to overcome anything. It is important to remember that resilience is not just individual strength. It is about supporting and uplifting one another. Speak up when you see injustice. Give your time to saving others. Do the things that you have loved in your life. And above all, never give up. Believe a dead man walking. Ladies and gentlemen, let me leave you with these words of Maya Angelou. Listen to them, embrace them, and live them. This is a poem by Angelou. You may shoot me with your words, You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but I still, like air, I'll repeat that, but still, like air, I'll rise, leaving behind nights of terror and fear. I rise into a day that is wondrously clear. I rise. Bring their gifts my ancestors gave. I am the dream and hope of the slave. I rise. I rise. I rise. Thank you very much.